Well, here we are on the balcony at Craven Cottage for everybody's favourite video, the Fulham goals of the season for 1991-1992. Well, where shall we begin? In fact, if we go back 12 months to last summer, the club so narrowly avoiding relegation for the second successive season, just 2 points outside those relegation places. And in the summer, we'd said goodbye to a legend. Goal-scoring hero Gordon Davis had announced his retirement from Fulham at least, although he was to go on to one more chapter of glory at Wrexham. And we'd also said goodbye to Justin Skinner. He joined Bristol Rovers. And perhaps most importantly, Phil Stant, whose wholehearted endeavours had done more than any other player to keep us in the third. Well, he'd been sold to Mansfield Town in August. So as we went into the big kick-off for the start of another season here in the third, desperately hoping the club would improve on the previous 2 years, but the big question hanging over Craven Cottage was just who was going to score the goals. Well, we began with an away defeat at Chester. No goals for us on that occasion as we went down by 2-0. Also out of the Rumbelows Cup at a very early stage where we came up against a good Charlton Athletic side. And then a couple more disappointing results at home to Birmingham, losing by the odd goal. And then another blank scoreline here against West Bromwich Albion. At last we'd got off the mark with an away win at Torquay United. And for those first goals at Craven Cottage, plus all the other 29 we scored in the season here, some fabulous away goals coming your way as well. We're about to bring all those goals for you this season on our Goals of the Season special. I'll be joined later on the tape by your favourite manager and mine, Don Mackay, who's going to go through all the action for us as well. And then at the end of the tape, we'll have a brief chat about Fulham's chances for the coming campaign. So sit back, all you Fulham fans, and get ready for a feast of action. Some fabulous goals. Let those goals roll, as we say. Cue the action. So let's get into the action for you Fulham fans. And our first win of the season came at the beginning of September. The first win at Craven Cottage coming after our first away win the previous week at Torquay United, thanks to a header from Udo Onweri. Swansea City then coming to the cottage, a warm afternoon. The question was, where would the goals come in this fixture? They came indeed from a most unexpected quarter. 2 goals for fullback Martin Pike.
It was a good ball from Martin, held up well, the young lad Cole on loan to the club. He's done well here, pinning the man into the goal, lays it back. Bit fortunate with the deflection there, but then on Pikey's right foot, he's entitled to a little bit of glory off his right foot. But again, he's in a good position, he's finished it off well, and it's a good goal, although we're a bit fortunate with the deflection. So
Fulham 1 up at half-time, and coming up, the second of Pike's 2 on the afternoon. Once again, instrumental in the build-up on lone striker Andrew Cole.
And at the back post, that is a wide midfield player's goal for me. He's got in well, he's got good support, he's got in there, and Martin finished up with sliding at the back of the net. Again, both worthy of goals of any quality.
Well, Pike involved in everything here at the moment as we see another build-up which leads to Fulham going close to a third.
The big centre forward's done well again to hold it up, and Graham Baker's unlucky with a shot. It just clipped the top of the bar, but Cole's done well by holding it. That's what we're hoping that Sean Farrell's going to do this year. Same thing. Pikey again involved, knocking it inside. Kelly Hagg on the ball. Pikey again battling in with him, and a good finish from Scotty laying it inside there. A little bit fortunate with the deflection. Bad clearance, thank you very much. Swansea player wants his bum kick for that. He should have whacked the ball into the front row of the stand. But again, Gary Brazil's amazed. It's my first league goal of the season. But they all count the same. They all go the same way.
So Gary Brazil there getting the second bite at the cherry. The following week, on paper, a tough away trip to Stoke City. And Fulham really battling to come back from 2 goals down in this one. But this was a test of character, Don.
Yes, and Jim unfortunately has opted to come for that. It's a judgment. It's been a misjudgment because the striker just flicked it past him. And it's a bad goal to lose away from home. But again, character comes into it. Fulham coming forward, trying to attack. Smashing ball laid back, tremendous shot on the right foot, and there'd been a question about what the referee would have done with that as far as offsides if it had gone in the back of the net. That would have been an interesting decision.
Well, that might have been an equaliser before half-time, but here a second bad goal at the start of the second half.
We were talking about the other day in training about this, about defenders getting too flat to people and attackers out jumping. Jim again, perhaps a little bit at fault with it, but it's in the back of the net. What a test of character to come back from 2-0 down.
Wayne Biggins and Ian Cranston with the first two, but what about this from Andrew Cole, the pick of the bunch on the afternoon?
Probably why he's worth £500,000. He's done well, controlled the ball well, relaxed on it at the final minute, and a good finish off his left boot into the corner of the net. Again, 2-1 down away from home. They've still shown character to keep going.
And here comes the equaliser. Good bit of work from Johnny Marshall, and there's Mark Newson at the back post. Not sure if the keeper didn't get the first touch there, Don, but they all count.
Yeah, and Mark Newson's done well again, getting in the box. Midfield players getting in the box in that situation to score goals, to pull back a really crucial decision from 2-0 down away from home to 2-2, first class.
So after a poor start to the season, things were getting better as we welcomed our neighbours Leyton Orient to the cottage on the 21st of September. Fulham were now in mid-table, but Leyton Orient had proved themselves no easy pushovers either, and this was a closely fought contest in the sunshine, which saw Fulham winning eventually by 2-1, but it was always close.
Good falling in from Gary Brazil there, a shot from Cole. He's held it up, shot at goal. Maybe not the best of shots, but Gary's still falling in as a striker should. Good ball from Peter Scott here. Cole's done well again to hold it up. A little bit unlucky. The situation was well. He's held it up. The goalkeeper's done a good job. There's a bit narrow the angles for him, but it's been a good piece of play from Fulham. Smashing ball played wide to Pikey. Good ball into the box. Making them defend it, getting behind them. A good lay back again. A tremendous shot, just slightly off target. It's good play from Fulham. That is a good build-up in the play. Leyton just don't look at the races at this time.
And at last the breakthrough, a couple of minutes before half-time, Jeff Eckhart with the first of his 7 goals of the season.
Jeff Ecker's in a good position, but Cole's also pulled off well to head the ball back across the goal. It's a good goal from Fulham.
A lead, sadly, we held for barely 60 seconds, a sloppy goal given away to Kevin Nugent.
Questions got to be asked about why he's standing there on his own. As you say, 1-0 up, perhaps relaxed a little bit, and there you are, 1-1 now.
Still in a frantic 3-minute period before the break, Peter Scott with a diving header that shaves the crossbar. Crowd certainly getting value for money here, Dom.
Well, I thought the keeper saved that. I'm surprised it wasn't a corner kick from what I looked at.
And then Gary Brazil on the turn, not quite getting the full purchase on the ball he sought.
As I say, Leyton, I know Fulham's can be very deceptive, but there's a lot of good play from Fulham here. John Marshall running at people, and the shot again, not far off target. That's what you want to. That's what I want to encourage players to do: run at people, have shots. It's exciting football to watch.
10 minutes to go. Kelly Haig was on as a substitute, and here comes the winner. Kelly tangling there with Day at the back, and it's in the back of the net.
It's a good finish. Again, as I was a Leyton coach, I've been moaning about the fact the back four getting caught square, but Kelly's done a great job. He's run in front of people, he's got there, and the finish has been exquisite. A good shot off his left foot. I tell you, there's been some good goals so far.
And there's plenty more to come as well, but it needed a good save from Jim right at the death there from Day to preserve the 3 points.
And that's what he gets paid for, people tell me. And the goalkeepers union, I'll defend Jim on that, but again, he's done well. The defence have got to be asking questions in that situation. Why did we get caught?
Well, after picking up an away point at Bournemouth, the next home match saw neighbours Brentford. At the beginning of October, Dean Holdsworth was out injured, and we hoped that this would be our opportunity to put one over our nearest and dearest neighbours.
The one thing I've been surprised, or not impressed about since I've come to Craven Cottage is the amount of play that we have had in games and not scored goals off. We've got to try to get goals in this period, because we get punished, as has happened here. Set play, big lads getting in the back post. We've had a good spell of play, and Brentford are up 1-0 when perhaps Fulham should have been up 1-0. Question mark got to be asked about the set play again. They get in here again. The question, they've got a tremendous save for Jim Stannard. He's done really well. I think we're lying too flat there, and this is something we've been talking about, funnily enough, just this week, getting caught too flat. This is a great break from the lads. We're trying to get forward, putting pressure under Brentford. Scotty does well. I'd have thought it was a penalty kick.
In fact, that was Gary Cobb in the number 7 shirt, brought down by Keith Jones in one of his last games for Brentford before his big money move to Southend. And we all thought, as we held our breath, this would be the equaliser. Gary Brazil with the spot kick. Graham Benstead had other ideas in the Brentford goal.
It's a good save. Gary's hit it well. I still question, when you look at it in slow motion, which I've done once or twice, he's moved before the ball struck. The referees are not picking keepers up for that. They're talking about people encroaching 10 yards before the free kick's taken. Goalkeepers moving before penalty kicks a far bigger thing for me. Gary's been unfortunate. The one thing it gives me about Gary, he's still confident to take the penalty kicks, which is a big thing for us all.
And it wasn't going to be our day as we saw Andrew Cole with a late effort glancing off the top of the crossbar. 3 points to Brentford, the first leg of the double they were to do over us in their promotion season. But how about this? An away trip to Bradford City as we picked ourselves up off the floor after that defeat. And this really was one of the matches to remember in the 1991-92 season. 7 goals coming up, Fulham ahead after just 2 minutes.
A good corner kick from Pikey, well finished off. I mean, it's a good corner kick, and Mark Newson's done well at the near post. He's out-jumped people, he's headed it in the net, and it's a great start, especially away from home, and especially after last week's result, as you say, against Brentford. Gets everybody going, everybody's fired up. Udo does well here, a good finishing with that is first class from Udo, and it's one of the things that gets me annoyed about him just now, because he's got that ability to do that, and he can show these things for the club, and it's a tremendous finish. John Marshall does well, there's a good 1-2 and a good clearance up the park. Then the question mark's got to be asked about where's the Bradford defence. Good running from Gary Brazil, thank you very much. 3-0, and I can understand how the feeling must have been going through the boys and the supporters at that stage, away from home, 3-0 up. It's a fantastic feeling, but you can get sloppy then, that's what you've got to be careful about. This happens here, a little bit sloppy, creeps into it, thank you very much, 3-1. And it's something that they've got to make sure that you go in at half time 3-0 up, and it always leads to funny feelings in the team when it goes like this.
Well, we were 3 up, in fact, after just 18 minutes. A goal either side of half-time, both from Brian Tinian. And suddenly it was becoming nervous stuff. Fulham leading now by 3 goals to 2.
Well, what a good way to reply to it with this flick on. That's a good corner kick. I mean, it would be interesting to see how the linesman didn't view that as being a goal. But again, I'm biased. I want Fulham to score all the time.
Well, Simon Morgan was the unlucky player with the header. Martin Pike there driving 1 inches wide of the far post. But still Fulham came forward, and then a goalkeeping error, giving Kelly Haig the chance to steal it away and seemingly wrap it up with number 4.
And again, that won't happen this year. That would be a free kick for Fulham for the ball being passed back to keeper's hands. So you wonder about the pass back rule being effective or being ineffective. Not a good punch from Jim. It's unfortunate with that one. It wasn't a good punch, but he's made up for it with the second one. He's got back in there and cleared the ball away. The nerves must have been going a bit here at this stage. Because again, the question is, was the ball over the line?
Well, the referee said so. The linesman agreed. Phil Babb, the scorer. That, I'm pleased to say, was the end of the scoring, and Fulham running out winners by 4-3. Last chance to Kelly Haig, wide of the post. But an invaluable away win, our second of the season, coming there at Bradford City in a game that the travelling fans will remember for a long time to come. And that was followed immediately by another tough-looking away fixture on paper. And this is what happened to Bolton Wanderers.
Poor defending by Bolton there just now. The lad's done well, but the defender should have won the tackle. These are all things. Corner kick coming up now. Pikey does a good job with the corner kicks. Puts it in a good area, got to be defended, and it makes people have to panic with the situation. Not a good header clearance again. Still Fulham in with a chance. Still haven't cleared their lines properly. And what a finish from Gary Brazil. That is quality finish at any level. And 1-0 away from home again after last week's performance at Bradford. They must have been feeling we can beat the world in this situation.
Would you say Gary's the best striker of a ball we have at the club, Don?
Martin Pike hits the ball well as well, and Gary does well here again. On these 2 goals, yes, that's evident enough to say on 2 goals like that you can't get better. One with his left foot, one with his right foot. I think Pikey might dispute that to a degree, but that's a good goal as well, and well deserved, because it's been good piece of football involved in it. Pikey again attacked the ball at the right place, 1-2, get the ball in the box, cause them problems. Thank you. That's again quality goal, quality finish at any level. And people tell me Fulham are in the 3rd division, we're having a bad time.
Well, after that win, we were up to 9th in the 3rd division and seemingly going along nicely. Things got better, in fact, in our Autoglass match here away to Maidstone. Just 936 paying spectators for this, the lowest crowd ever to watch a first-team Fulham fixture. It was a night when Fulham hit Maidstone for 6, and that man, Gary Brazil, helped himself to a hat-trick.
I think we'll just let them enjoy it. There's that many goals in this thing. And again, but there's a lot of good play, not just in the goals, but to the build-up to the goals, to things happening. People playing early balls in the box. Udo, it's not a great ball in there early doors, and the goal comes out of it. There's times, again, Pikey's the one. It looks like Pikey again at the back post. So there, yeah, Pikey's the one at the back post, a full back getting in from a a midfield player's cross. Good finish again. Keepers picking up daisies on the edge of the penalty box someplace there just now. But the lads look as if they want to score goals in this situation. And this is what amazes me at times with players. They seem to go up and down in situations that, if they're positive in what they're doing, positive in their approach, goals will come. And all these goals we've been watching here in this game have all come from positive play. And it amazes me at times they get so negative in their own views with themselves. They let themselves down and the supporters down as well.
Well, Andrew Cole, the highly rated Arsenal player, now of course with Bristol City, only scoring 3 goals in his loan spell at Fulham. Many people felt he should have scored more. But on this night, Don, he actually created 5 of the 6 goals that Fulham scored. The final 2 from Gillingham.
I think there's more to scoring goals than just the person who puts the ball in the net. And if you get a striking partnership that works together, hopefully if we're trying to get with Sean Farrell and Gary Brazil, with Kelly Haig as well, that if that works together with each other, you can finish up not just scoring the goals, but making the goals as well. It's not just about scoring goals.
After our win against Preston North End at the end of October, that had been quite a month for us. Remember, it began with that 1-0 defeat by Brentford. Fulham were up to 7th in the table, one outside the playoff positions. Preston, as always, proving gritty opponents. The winner coming just before half-time. First goal of the season for Simon Morgan.
Simon's attacked the ball. Simon will get more goals because he attacks the ball and goes into good areas to attack the ball, and he's not afraid to have shots at goal and hot strikes at goal. This is one thing that lets Cole down with his finishing. He's done brilliant there just now, and he's been a bit unlucky the second time. But just a little bit more composure, like he showed at the Stoke goal, we'd probably got another goal out of that one. But Scotty's done well here as well. He's knocked things in, played it into people, again played it into good areas. Gary Brazil, good chip to the back post, just a little header there. Yeah, you've got to love a striker if they make decisions. I'd have far rather he'd put his head to that and headed the ball in. But again, a lot of good play from Fulham, with not a lot to show for it, just the 1 goal. Again, the heading finish just a little bit off target. That's maybe why there's a little question mark about the situation. But the lad does score goals, there's no question, and makes goals for other people too. Kelly should have buried that one. But again, it's again good play from the lads. They've built it up well, done a lot of good things from it. Gary Brazil smashing one on. A little bit unfortunate with the way the ball's broken. Kelly had done the right thing. What a piece of defending that is. I mean, that was a crime really. It didn't go in the net, but they give the lad a bit of credit from Preston. A fantastic piece of defending there from him.
That had to be the goal line clearance of the season, Don. But Preston's seen off, and Fulham another 3 points in the bag. Well, it all began to go sour in November, I'm afraid, a month which saw Fulham exit in the first round of the FA Cup, and the first time in the club's history we'd lost to a non-league side. To make it worse, that side were Hayes from just down the road. They brought plenty of travelling fans for this night, a Friday evening at Craven Cottage, that apart from the Hayes fans on the ground, we'll all want to forget quickly. It could have been different had Fulham scored in the first half when they had most of the game.
It's not unlike the game we played Wrexham in the Autoglass Trophy in many ways, when we had so much of the play in the first half and didn't capitalise on the goals. Then all of a sudden, second half starts up, set piece, free kick. Boys hit it really well. But there's got to be questions about, was the ball right, was things going? It lifts a non-league club when that happens, especially away from home. You can see the way the Hayes players have enjoyed that. But it's Fulham, to be their credit, they're still trying to come forward, they're still trying to do things. And it's sad in many ways that a result like this can cause so much havoc in a club, because there is better things there, a little bit of anxiety creeping into play. You can see people becoming anxious to what they're going to do, how they're going to finish things off. Then all of a sudden it goes the other way, because we're so anxious to get forward to do things. Ball played through, Bitey should have knocked it away, he's let it on the cross on 2-0 out of the cup, and that is what can happen to any club. Ask Coventry City, they got knocked out from a non-league club after being cup holders. So I mean, these things can happen in these situations. The problem then arises, how do people respond to it?
Well, that's the first and we hope the last time Fulham are knocked out of the cup by a non-league side. Andrew Cole wasn't playing in that match, incidentally, Arsenal not wanting him to be cup tied. This was his last appearance in a Fulham shirt. It's against Stockport County, their first ever league trip to Craven Cottage, and I'm afraid it's another game that Fulham lost in a month they really would prefer to forget. There were league defeats also at Huddersfield and Hartlepool as we slipped down the table, out of the cup as well, and this was an afternoon where things didn't go our way either.
Stockport were a surprise team in the third division last season. They showed so much ingenuity and so much inventiveness to do things, and a good finish from the big lad up front. And I think these are things that surprise people because they just came into third division, and they really did contribute a lot to it. They got into the playoffs and took 6 points off of Fulham as well, which was disappointing because we felt we should have got a better result at Stockport. Again, question marks got to be asked about the marking. How does an attacker get between two defenders? And these are things we've been looking at. Strangely enough, we've been looking at this week in training. So we're always trying to contribute things. Cole does really well here. It's a good finish. That again is a striker's finish. He's relaxed, he's settled down, stuck it in the net. It was too late, too little too late, I'm afraid.
And I'm afraid that was to be the last match in charge for Alan Dix. His regime at Fulham hadn't been a success, and he parted company with the club the following week after another defeat at Darlington. That was just about rock bottom for Fulham pre-Christmas, and we began to wonder if indeed it was going to be another season of trial and tribulation as the fourth division beckoned. Well, in December, along came the saviour, the Messiah. He's sitting alongside us here on this tape. Don Mackay, and also a new arrival at the club around about Christmas time, making his home debut against Torquay United on Boxing Day. £80,000 striker from Luton Town, Sean Farrell, and he was soon in the thick of things, but not before Torquay had taken a shock lead on 10 minutes with this breakaway goal.
Again, the question marks got to be asked. At that time, Fulham were playing five at the back, and there's still too much space in the defence for me with five. They should be shut up better than that. Gary Brazil's done well here, who held the ball up, a good ball in from Martin Pike, and a tremendous finish. Sean Farrell's first goal of many, we hope, for the club. Good, again, a good striker's goal in a good area of the park, attacked the ball, a quality cross from Pikey, one each. I saw this game in actual fact, and I thought that the Fulham were more than worthy of the result at the time. Finish there from Sean hitting the crossbar, something Sean's got a habit of doing, just leans back a little bit too much, get over the top of the ball. Better quality finishings we're looking for from this season from him. Another good quality cross into the box that makes defenders have to defend it. A great finish from Simon Morgan, well struck. We're from Jeff Eckert. I thought it was Simon Morgan for him.
Simon Morgan with the goal there.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, Jeff going out there, but it was Simon that hit it. It was his left foot. That's what's I mean. And Simon's going to go with his left foot. He'll be chuffed about that one. But it was again a quality finish. And I was surprised when I came to the club because everybody was talking, like you were saying just now, about the doom and gloom situation, about are we fighting against relegation again, but the atmosphere wasn't that bad, and I can see now from the first half of the season there was a lot of good football had been played, although a few results had gone the wrong way. Lads had done things in a positive manner, and with a little bit of breaks like this, the ball hitting the bar, getting little things, the corner was going to be turned, and it took a lot of work and a lot of heart searching from one or two of the lads to turn the corner. Finish there could have been better for Mark Newson, but he's in a good area. He's in a good position, he's a defender, and he's in the penalty box missing chances. So there is things there to, at the time when I took over, to say, well, they're not really as bad as what they're being cracked up to be. And saying that, they were just a little bit more than fortunate with that shot there. It was different class.
Yes, indeed. Well, there's a crunching challenge, and not a fair one in the eyes of the referee on Jeff Eckert from a certain Mr. Justin Fashanu. And that spoiled his Christmas. A red card for Fashanu. Off he goes. Torquay, everything going against them. Those two shots crashing against the crossbar. 2-1 down, and a sad exit for the Torquay number 9. But 3 points to Fulham. And they were badly needed points as well, because we were struggling by this time. Don officially had taken control for the visit of Chester City on 28th of December. This was a game, Don, in which we threw away a 2-goal lead.
This was a game I just couldn't believe. At first, when I saw the atmosphere in the place, that we talked to the lads and we got things going, I was surprised at where they were in the league. And then all of a sudden, we go out the second half, score a goal, get in front in the situation, and everybody's buoyant about it. Things are going well, things beginning to, nervousness creeping in because a new manager taking over. But we get in front, then all of a sudden, before we know what's happening, we're 2 goals up. And chances were beginning to happen, things were beginning to do, everything was beginning to buzz round about. People wanted the ball, people were running off the ball for each other, as happens here. Finishing could have been better at times, but we're still having shots at goal, we're making people make saves. Jeff Eckert getting forward, there was everything going on at the time. And then suddenly, before we know what happened, we miss a chance, things beginning to go a little bit funny, but we still kept playing, still kept going with things. Gary Brazil does really well here, great ball inside, good running from Scotty, a wee bit of composure from Peter, thank you very much. 2-0. The game was finished, so they thought. And that is where people make mistakes, where they're only human, we all make mistakes and things like that. What a great start to go off with a 2-0 win at home, new manager taking over. And strangely enough, it was a lesson to us as the season progressed, because here's a situation, we get caught wrong side. I didn't think it was a penalty kick, I thought it was a very harsh decision, because I thought that Glenn Thomas had actually won the ball. The referee's given a penalty kick, and before we know what happens, Chester's back in the game again. Jim's a bit unfortunate. He went the right way, but the lads were taking, well, you can't do much about penalty kicks like that, but we're still 2-1 up. But then panic stations starting to come, set plays that we have got definitely to work up better, and we get done from a corner kick, and there you are, 2-1, 2-0 up. 2-0 is a funny result in many ways. The 2-0, a goal, but the third goal is vital. They got the third goal to bring them back to 2-1, to 2-2. There's got to be questions asked about that. But then, again, I was shocked. We go to West Bromwich Albion, and what a performance this is at West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, well, the first goals of the season there at the match against Chester for Thomas and Scott to no avail. But my goodness me, didn't we pick ourselves up for this trip to leaders West Brom on New Year's Day. A hat-trick coming up for Sean Farrell, and that first one, a real striker's goal gone.
He's controlled it well in his chest, he's taken it down, West Brom lads trying to get there, and he's finished. This was a game that surprised me in some respects, because I didn't even realise Sean had scored a hat-trick, because they're all different types of goals. They've all been scored by the same lad, but all in a different sort of manner as they come along.
That would have been one of the goals.
It was tremendous volley from Jeff Eckford there. Again, good running from Sean Farrell. But we relax a little bit here, we get caught square, a good run, trying to pull people back. We should have been on the other side of the goal, don't clear our lines, and before we know it, we're at 1-1. And we could have been 2-0 up, it was 1-1. And this is where I talk about the character. What do we do from there? Pick ourselves up, get up the park, put them under pressure, and nearly score again. Could have been 3-1 at that stage. And the lads from a struggling team have shown a lot of character, a lot of good things, people running forward, Scotty getting in a good position, good cross, thank you very much. Again, that's a striker's goal. Sean Farrell should get more of these, and it's a good flick in, and we're 2-1 up again. But funnily enough, it's a funny situation again, 2-0, 2-1, here come West Brom, back at this again. Set piece, good header off the line. Wonder who headed that off the line. Sean Farrell, our
yes.
centre forward.
What's he doing back there?
Good defending. Again a set play, tremendous save for Jim Stannard. Fantastic, but again, why have we not got people competing for the ball? That's the question that I keep asking them.
Well, we've got plenty of centre halves at the club, Don, and plenty of big defenders, but we did have a problem all season with set-piece plays like that.
And then all of a sudden, who pops up? Scotty, ball's pulled across the goal, and Sean Farrell coming from nowhere. A 3-1, and then you're saying to yourself, there's the 2-goal cushion again. It's always a dangerous thing, the 2-goal cushion, because people relax, we're 2 goals up, and what happens? Another set play. Mind, it was a very windy day that day. And there we are, a set piece again. Jim Stannard, tremendous save.
And West Brom felt they should have had a penalty there.
That's right. Well, they were all shouting about penalty. They thought it was a goal in actual fact. They talked about it after the game.
But was this a penalty? Handball given against Thomas.
It's hard to judge what happens in that situation. The ball's come at him so quickly. Did he handball it, or did the ball hit him? Again, a penalty kick. We were talking about penalty kicks in that stage because we seem to lose a penalty kick a game in that area because we lost one at Peterborough as well as the games come along. So, but I think what must be remembered, they still picked themselves up. We're still away from home, and look what happens now. 3-2 down. What a shot that is to hit the post. It could have been 4-2. And at first when that happened, we thought it was a goal because we thought that this boy was in the box at the 6-yard box behind Udo. Yes, he was in front of the 2, but we questioned where the player was behind him. There's only minutes to go. But character in the side again, away from home against the leaders at the top of the table.
Well, that really was a performance to lift the side as we went into 92. Now, Gillingham here in the Autoglass. Gillingham had just come off a good result in the Cup at Brentford, 3-3. They were awaiting the replay. Meantime, a trip to Craven Cottage. But goals, one in each half from Johnny Marshall and Simon Morgan, saw Fulham progress through to the next round.
And again, defenders getting into good areas to score goals. And we were still at that stage playing with 5 at the back, and that's the thing that I thought, with too many gaps opening up, let's go with 4 at the back. And we started now to play with 4 at the back and get people forward. And this was a disappointing performance as far as I was concerned, because I thought we should have done better against Wigan. Julian Hale's first game, so we give Julian a chance to do things. A good run forward from Julian there, and somebody who I've got a lot of faith for the future. Tremendous header there from Glenn Thomas at the back. He should get into more things. I mean, he should get involved in more things as far as I'm concerned, because Glenn had got a tremendous head of the ball. But good play, and suddenly look what happens. We're 1-0 down. And that's been from a good spell in our play. We don't seem to get the important goal when we've had a good period of play. That's what we've got to learn to do next season, to get the goals when we've had a good period of play.
Here's the equaliser. 15 minutes from time, sneaks in from Simon Morgan.
From a defender again. And I think that everybody can contribute to what's going on in the side, and I think it's important that people realise that. I want them all to be able to score goals. But it's one of these things that you say, why should defenders score goals? That's a striker's job. No, anybody can score goals. Now this was a slightly better performance because Bolton at this time were going well, and at one stage were favourites to be going up. And we felt that we had to get a grip of the game. Pikey getting hit with a linesman. I mean, I wonder if that is a criminal assault. It should be charged against the linesman for that situation. It's not funny to Martin because it was quite a sore whack in the face. David Byrne, on loan to us here from Watford, did a lot of good things, David, but he wasn't the player I had when I was at Blackburn. He's gone back a little bit from what he does. Still a good little winger, but not quite the quality I would want at the time. Tremendous finish up here from Mark Kelly. He's hit the first one well, and he's followed it and hit the second one. Mark doesn't get enough goals for me. He's got to contribute more as far as goals concerned. Another set piece, caught, ball pouncing against the post. Too many in the wall for me there. Jim and I have to sit down and have wee chats about that as the season goes on. We've worked well at this set play, and the keeper's done well with the block. It's just a pity that the final flourish hasn't been a bit better. But again, we've still got a lot of this game, but we've still only got one goal to show for it. And I think that is the crucial thing to us last season. We didn't get goals in vital stages of the game, and all of a sudden, opposition come back in, a little mistake defensively, before we know what's happening. 1-1. I thought that was offside. I still think it's offside, but the camera angle sometimes tells things different, and I'm a little bit biased, I think.
Andy Walker there on the score sheet. I think he comes from north of the border, Don. Less said about that, the better.
Well, there was definitely offside there, because Scotsmen always get caught offside all the time. But again, good moves again in this game. I thought we were out a bit more than we were towards the end of this, but unfortunately there for flick-ons, Kelly Higgs done well there with the run across, just hasn't quite made contact with it. Could well have won that game. Yes,
another 2 points perhaps thrown away. We were still trying to get the blend absolutely right. You see Mark Kelly has come back into the side. He's battled well. Gavin Nebbeling also was about to contribute to the final third of the season. And coming up, another important away win on the plastic at Preston.
It's a good finish from Gary Gazelle. He'd enjoy that one, especially at Preston. And I think that this again, to me, told a lot of character to the lads. I don't like artificial surface, I never have done. But they kept playing on it, they kept trying to do things, put balls in behind defenders and turn them. Sean Farrell does really well here by running up people. Defenders can't turn on this surface. Ran tremendously well, and what a good finish. I mean, that was a quality goal from a lad running at defenders all the time. As I say, that's what Sean Farrell's in the side for. That's a good, positive play by him.
So Farrell and Brazil beginning to develop their understanding up front. Our two goal scorers on a memorable afternoon at Deepdale. Big Jim doing his stuff as well at the other end. Away win number 5 coming at Preston in February. We're now into a run of 3 defeats from 12 away games, as at last we begin that climb up the table. And we really sent out a warning to the leading sides with this 4-0 demolition of Darlington. And suddenly we were dreaming, could it be possible, of promotion.
I got the blame on this 4-0 victory because I quoted it in the programme notes. Now, I didn't have a premonition about it or anything. I just felt it was about time we were due to score goals. A good finish here again from Gary Gazelle. He's got into an area, seen the situation, keeper's off his line, little chip to the back post. John Marshall's done brilliant here. Questions about what's going on. Again, was it handball or did the ball hit him? The way the defenders reacting, I think it's handball. What about this for a penalty kick? Thank you very much. We still joke about that yet from Sean Farrell. And this is what astonishes me. Watch the finish about this goal coming up now. He's just missed a penalty kick from 12 yards, no pressure. Thank you very much.
Fabulous game.
A tremendous finish. Now, why did you know that from the penalty spot? That's what we talked about after. We still talk about that yet. But I mean, that's a good finish again from him. David Byrne contributing. David Byrne did well for coming from Watford, and a lot of people questioned why he wasn't signed. A good cross, good work there from Jeff Eckerd into the back post. The situation was at the time we just couldn't afford his salary, and it was as simple as that. The club have a lot of financial problems that we tried to clear. Goalkeeper there, miles away from home. He should have had enough about him to watch the bounce. Gary Brazil's done well to finish it off. 4-0. It was a good performance on the night.
Yes, and Gary Brazil's double there, his first league goals at the Cottage in 6 months. And that followed up as we moved into the top half of the table with a 2-0 away win at Reading. And now we really were firing on all cylinders. Eckhart and Farrell, the scorers on that afternoon.
And the support were brilliant. That's the first time I really got the feeling, apart from maybe the Peterborough game, that the fans were getting behind everybody. The support at Reading that day were first class. And it was good to hear people supporting Fulham, getting behind Fulham. And I think they contributed to the result that day. This was a good performance at Wigan as well, because Wigan are not a bad side. And again, we got things by the scruff of the neck early on, got attacking people, good position, and then again, Jeff Ecker's done well to get in there. Jeff was worth his goals this season. They were all good scoring goals. But it was a bit of a controversial game, this as well. Because I can still not work out yet. I've stopped this and played it and stopped it and played it. I still can't find out where the referee saw a penalty kick on this. I just can't work out at all. But again, it's what we pay Big Jim for, and he does brilliant here. It's different class, good save. Defenders getting back, we're a bit fortunate with there. He's headed it off the bar, and Sean Farrell going, that to me was a penalty kick. The referee gives a free kick against Sean Farrell for a dive. Now the people watching this have got a slow motion on the video. Just play it in slow motion and let them have a look at what happens. But what about this for a goal? He's run half the length of the field, taking people on, defenders there or thereabout, not getting back right side, thank you very much. A little striker's goal. And he's done well to attack people. A good 2-0 win away from home, that was. That was a good performance.
And that was our third successive away win, despite all the intentions of the referee. Coming up, another great performance here, midweek action against high-flying Huddersfield Town. One of my tips for promotion last season. They just missed out, and really stretching Fulham all the way before we took the 3 points. Thanks once again to yet another priceless goal from Jeff Eckhart.
I rated Huddersfield. I thought Huddersfield had a lot of good things. Jeff's done well here, kept his head, headed over the keeper's out, a good goal. I rated Huddersfield last season. They played a lot of good football, did a lot of good things, but you should really know you should never make predictions in this game, because it soon falls back on you whenever you start saying people will do things. But we should have done better with this finish as well. Sean's first touch could have been better there. He's let it run away from him. But we're getting at them, we're going at them, we're making them defend things. And again, it's because we're doing things positively. We're wanting to commit them into doing things. It's a good ball from Gary Brazil here as well. I tell you, that was a great save and a tremendous shot in from Gary. Dropped his shoulder, come inside, hit it off his right foot. He deserved better from that. But against the side, as you rightly said, Huddersfield to me, I thought could have been there or thereabout.
Were the club seriously now beginning to think relegation was well behind us and promotion could be a distinct possibility?
No, I never believe that. I mean, especially when you get goals like this. To me, these things happen in games, and you never really look at things like, are we going to win promotion, are we going to be relegated? You try to do your job day in, day out as it comes to you. And this result was, Hartlepool at the time were a bit up and down in their performances, and it was important we got something out of it, and we did. Because of good play, the pitch was beginning to cut up a little bit, which didn't help us to a degree, because we tried to play a little bit of football, and it made it a little bit easier for teams to come and defend against it. There was a lot of funny results about that period, and people were starting to talk about promotion. All we tried to do was keep our feet on the ground and keep working at the job as it went along, and that's what you try to do no matter whether you're top of the league or bottom of the league, because look what can happen very quickly.
This was just before half time. It's Mark Tucker making his first appearance of the season. And his error there, bringing out another brilliant save from Jim.
Jim did really well. He stood up, waited for the thing to come, and made a good save from that. And I think, as you say, that's what can turn the game. This was a game that I felt the first half we should have walked away with it the first half. The disappointment was Stoke came back as the second half and gave us a right doing in the second half, and we were very fortunate at the end to finish up with a draw in this game.
Well, this one was coming hard on the heels of that away defeat at Stockport, and we felt at the time, Don, we needed really 3 or perhaps 4 points from those 2 fixtures, and we got just the one.
It was disappointing, but again, Stoke were at that time really in the hunt for promotion, and we just never seem to get on top of this game. And yet the first half we did. We got a lot of good things happening in the first half. Second half, credit to Stoke, they came out very positively in the second half, and yet that could have turned the whole game. That one had hit the net, we'd have been 2-0 up. The game could have changed, but then all of a sudden, before we know what's happened, we're really fighting a battle here. Biggins does really well here. That's a good ball in near post. We haven't filled the near post quickly enough, and it's a good goal, but from my point of view, a bad goal defensively, because we should have filled the near post earlier, and we get away with a let off again, because they should have done. Finishing there was poor from Stoke. that had been a better finish. We'd have been really decrying a defeat, because Stoke really played well in the second half, and we just didn't seem to get into the game. Jim Stannard again earning his corner, a great save to the left hand side. People say Jim's not good about his feet. That's a first class save. And set pieces again were just not there. Again, Jim Stannard earning his money. He more than, I should have maybe paid Jim an extra bonus for that game. We better not hear that. He'll be asking me for more money when it comes along. But Jim did really well there. And I think we've got to be asking questions about the corner kick situation.
Yeah, well, Steen's strike cancelling out the opener from Kelly Haig as it finished 1-1. We were round about 10th in the table, but determined to battle on to the final fixture. And the next opponents for us to dispose of at home were Reading, a midweek fixture this. Not a great match by any means at all. Wonderful save there from Steve Francis. Long-range thunderbolt from Peter Scott, who sadly left the club in the summer. We had to wait until deep into the second half before Jeff Heckart's winner gave us once again the 3 points.
It was a difficult game because we'd beaten them 2-0 at Reading. We're coming very close on top of each other. Everybody, we beat them there. It'll be a foregone conclusion perhaps, and suddenly you've got to lift yourself up a bit. It wasn't a nice night. It wasn't a good night. This is a game, you talked about the game at Bradford being the game of the season. This one practically put about 40 years on me, because we started off so well, so positive in what we're doing. Julian Hale's doing really well there. The boy practically pulling his jersey off, and we could have had it as a souvenir at the end of the game if he wanted. But these are things that, again, Julian doing positive things. Well taken penalty kick. Gary Bazil again, 1-0 up, and things beginning to happen. Quality free kick from Pikey, good ball into the back stick, thank you very much. Glenn Thomas, as I say, you've got to be doing more of that, because that is definitely a centre-half's goal coming in late at the back post. 2-0 up, and now we're beginning to buzz. Things are happening. Things are going ahead well here.
I think this might be a contender for the Fulham goal of the season. Count the number of touches here in the build-up. Gary Bazil on the end of it.
Again, looking at it from a defensive point of view, not filling the front post. Bury just got caught, but again, a good quality finish. But as you say, a lot of passes, a lot of things. Then the thing that put about 40 years on me, Bitey still jokes about this. But I mean, it is one of these things that happen. You never think it's going to happen. You never do think it's going to happen. And well, he does well here. He comes out, gets hold of the ball, and it's difficult for an outfield player going into goal. There's no question about that. But we thought we had got over it because of the start of the second half.
Number 4.
Yes, and to be 3-0 suddenly before you know what's happening. Simon Morgan doing well, knocking it back. Thank you very much. And then you think, well, we'll start to play a bit. But then there was little things happening. The set plays were going to cause us problems because Pikey wasn't a keeper. And you do find that you do things, defenders do things strangely there just now. Pikey's in no man's land. Could be a cleared it, could be not a cleared it. And it did, the nerves started to jangle a little bit, although we were 4-1 up. Again, the finish from Gary Bazil, tremendous save for the Bury keeper. He's done first class to stop that, and it was a good shot from Gary. But then there we really start to think, oh, what's going on here? Little chip, Pikey, good save, does well, and think, yeah, we'll settle down. He's got a hold of things. That's how I was thinking at the time, until you see the next clip coming up, because it was one of these situations that you think, well, we didn't see the second goal, so I mean the second goal really got me going as far as that was concerned. I thought this was a good performance. It's a good goal from Gary Bazil. A shot from Gary Bazil. Sean Farrell finishing it in. I thought this was a battling performance from Fulham. This wasn't a football performance, it had been a battling performance. A lot of people criticise us for that, but it was a battling performance. Then we go and do this one to Bournemouth, because I think Bournemouth will be a side this season that could cause problems in the second division.
This was a big game in every sense, Don, on Easter Monday, because both sides were really going for the playoffs now.
Yes, and the crowd responded. There was a good atmosphere that day, and people got behind the lads, and it was beginning to start to get the Black and White Army, and we had minutes when we were a bit nervous about things, but they kept playing away and kept doing things positively. It was a question that there were no mugs to Bournemouth. As I say, they're a side that could cause lots of problems. That's good defending from us there. Matt Newson getting back, clearing his lines. But then a good run from Julian. Julian does well, comes inside, checks to go outside, goes past the player, can't kick.
Julian Howes had an outstanding game in this one, and Glenn Thomas missing his first and only game of the season as well. Newson coming in. Yeah,
and Mark Newson did well. Mark Newson had a good game at Leyton and a good game here as well. So we've got a collection. The back four, we've got a fair collection of back four players for this season. And last season they did their jobs well as well for the team. But I think Julian Hales, as you said, had a good game this day. He really went at things, did things positively, tried to hit targets, tried to do things that you want players to do, to make the opposition make mistakes because you run it for. We actually tried to pull Julian in a little bit for this game, and it was effective because he did so well. Good ball through there just now. Sean Farrell does brilliant, goes past the man. Thank you very much. He does really well by running at him, by going and taking the keeper on and not panicking in the situation. 2-0. And as you said, then we were starting to think about a playoff position. This was when the things started to get a little bit nervous with Fulham.
Well, that was Sean's 10th and final league goal of the season, but what a solid start to his Fulham career. Remember, he played just half the season, and the outlandish idea that Fulham might just sneak into the playoffs lived on for another 6 days, I'm afraid, until we met our nemesis down the road of all places at Griffin Park against Brentford.
We had some horrendous defending today. We just didn't defend that day at all, and I really disappointed. Front post, we didn't get things. They were a bit fortunate at times. Flicks, everything they touched into the net in the first half. A little flick on. I think what I misread that day were the results on the Saturday. The results on the Saturday meant we had to stuff Brentford 4 or 5-0 that day, and it just wasn't on. Brentford are not a bad side. They're maybe not the best in the world. They were the best in the third division. So I think that it got to the lads a bit because it was a Sunday morning, because the results on the Saturday left it out of touch. Our defending was poor that day, and at the end of the day we got what we deserved, nothing. And it stuffed into the bargain.
Well, we've drawn a veil over the other two Brentford goals, but let's offer our congratulations to them as finishing champions of the third, and hope it'll be our turn for the coming season. So to the final fixture on the 2nd of May against Bradford City. It wasn't to be our season. Now no chance of making the playoffs after that 4-0 drubbing at Brentford, but over 8,700 fans coming to the cottage to applaud the side, thanking the team for a great second half of the season at least, and hoping very much that this would not be the last ever league game at Craven Cottage. Here we are in the first half against Bradford City.
A little bit of rain in the air for a change. It doesn't rain up and down in the south sometimes, but again it just softened the pitch up a little bit, that we could start to play a little bit. Good support from midfield again. Unfortunately didn't go in the first time, but it was in the second time. Again it was good support play there from the middle of the park, getting in the box, putting people under pressure, and we had a good spell, if I remember, at that time, attacking people, going it, and that goal was a good goal. Then all of a sudden we just relaxed that little bit, got caught sleeping a bit, the back post, ball gets knocked back.
Hint of offside? I
thought it was offside. The boy's still walking on the pitch. There's a boy, actually, a Bradford player off the pitch walking on. The referee says no, we thought it was offside, but then nerves started to go a little bit, and we felt as if we had lost our way until Gary was all tremendous positive run at people. Defender shouldn't have dived in, but he's done well. A little layoff across the goal. Kelly Higgs, good support, good finish, and again breaking from the back. That's a Nottingham Forest quality type goal, catching teams on the break. And I think it was a worthy win that day. We deserved to win that day. Bradford, a side next season who might cause problems as well in the league. There's a lot of good sides in the second division. Just a wee bit panicky there from Gary. Should have finished it with a bit more venom in it. But still running on. Sean Farrell running at people, knocking in early balls. Keeper does well to stand up. Gary didn't hit the target. Again, people don't give goalkeepers credit for that. Stood up well, makes a small target for Gary to hit, and unfortunately didn't hit the target. But it was a good day. It was a tremendous day to be remembered by everybody that day, because, as you say, 8,000 people, Jim's still earning his corner, a good save. That now, unfortunately, would be a free kick. That's how the new rules going to affect situations. The knockback there from Glenn Thomas would be punished by a free kick against Jim Stanley for handling the ball. Good tip over from the keeper. Good work there from Mark Kelly as well.
Let's mention, Don, at this point on the tape, ever-present Jim Stannard. We've seen some of his great saves. Pike and Thomas made 45 league appearances, missing just one game each. And player of the season, Simon Morgan.
They've done all, but I think, yes, these lads contributed a lot to side, but having watched the tape, and I've looked at a lot of lads contributed a lot. There's a Pillock getting carried around a bit there, with people contributed a wee bit as well. But there's no promise as to what can happen. I think that the response from the supporters coming towards the end of the season lifted everybody. And what we've got to do this year is for the same supporters to come along and lift the team again through the bad days and the good day. There's no promises being made. There'll be days like this again. There'll be days like the Hayes game. These things will happen in football because football's made that way. A lot of people thought it would be the last day of the cottage. Well, it's not. We're still there. Now, hopefully, if we can sort little things out with the Hammersmith Council, I don't like to swear on my tape, but I've done that. If we can sort things out, we might be at the cottage for a little bit longer. But we need to be a family. We need supporters to come along, to get behind the lads. They will give 100%. I will guarantee that they'll give 100%. We won't play well every week. We can't guarantee that. But the boys will try their best. They responded to the way the supporters behaved, because you can see this at the end. They come out in the balcony and applaud the supporters for the way they behave. Bradford City supporters down there. These folk are the cream of football to me. They're the people who make the game worthwhile. And I think it's only sad that people knock it so much. And you talk about the second half of the season being so good. There was a lot of good things in the first half of the season for Fulham. It's just being able to blend the whole thing together. There's no guarantee what will happen at the start of next year, and I won't promise things to anybody except that we'll give 100% every game. You see it here. Players, one of them actually got to get nicked for this, for throwing his boots in the crowd, because we actually cost money for doing things like that.
Mark Kelly put it on his wage bill. So those scenes then at the cottage in May, just proving how much Don Mackay's arrival had meant to those fans and how happy they were to be staying at the ground for another season at least. And as we saw the manager being chaired off there, Don, just think what might happen when we start winning things.
Yeah, and if we start losing things, I might be cheered off with a rope round my neck as well. So let's get winning things. Thank you. And for the people who've bought the tape, thank you very much, and thank you for your continued support of the Fulham Football Club.
So there it was, the last 9 months for you in 45 minutes of fast-moving action on our Goals of the Season tape. And it really was a roller coaster ride for us Fulham fans, from the dark days of November, the cup exit at the hands of Hayes, December when we were edging towards the bottom of the league and thought that perhaps the 4th division was beckoning for the first time in our history, and then turning the corner in such wonderful style as we did post-Christmas with the arrival of this man, Don Mackay, who's joined us here on the balcony. Don, thanks very much for contributing to the action there on the tape, but what about the coming season? Can we build and go forward from that mood we saw here last May?
We hope so. I mean, that's the major objective, is to try to build on that. Also to try to build on a lot of very, very good goals that everyone's seen on the tape. I've been quite astounded in many ways at the way the club had played before I came, because there's a lot of very good games in there. The Bolton game away from home, the Bradford game away from home, the West Brom game when I'd just taken over. I mean, I can't take any real credit for that. I mean, it was the lads who went to West Brom, to Hawthorns, with a tremendously positive approach to it. And right down to the last game against Bradford City here. So hopefully you do try to build on it. It'd be nice to have established the side and put one or two new names into it, which may still happen yet. I mean, it's very difficult to see how you can get things moving without perhaps bringing in a new name to get everybody a bit excited about it. And saying that £4 million going about for a young man called Shearer, the fees have just gone a little bit silly. So we haven't got that kind of money. So we've got to be realistic about it. But there's a lot to build on. A lot of good youngsters coming through, as we've seen in the summertime, and hopefully we can use them to good effect in the new season.
Well, after 5 or 6 years of decline, which almost at times appeared terminal, the club really feeling they'd turned the corner with your appointment and that run of success in the last 5 months of the season.
Well, everybody says this, but I mean, as I say, when I look at the video and when I see that the early part of the season, there was a lot of good things there as well to be seen. And it's just a question of whether or not I can sort of pull it all together, that we can all pull it all together, because we need the fans as well. It's not just a question of Don Mackay doing things. I'm not a magician. I'm just a normal person who tries to do his job reasonably well. We need everybody to pull together, and that goes from the smallest supporter to the chairman to the degree. We've all got to be black and white, and we've all got to support Fulham through thick and thin, hopefully here at Craven Cottage for a long time to come, but no promises with that either. Because the fact that in today's world, today's financial world, there's no saying where things go. Property 1 minute is worth millions, the next minute is worth nothing. So hopefully we can maybe cash in on that to our advantage and perhaps stay at Craven Cottage. But again, no promises. We just have to put people on the park, as we've already shown with the game against QPR, that we have capabilities there to play against the best and hold our own against the best. But I know the supporters would like maybe 1 or 2 new faces, and I would as well, is getting the right people, not just anybody.
Have we got the makings of a promotion-winning side?
Well, the makings of a relegation side as well. I think that's the question of anything in a football world. You hope you've got the promotion side together. You hope you've got the makings. Yes, there's most definitely the makings there, but there's also the makings of a relegation team. That happens in every club. The new Premier League breakaway. Every team will be looking to win it because it's the first time ever. But there'll also be 2 or 3 teams coming out of that league as well. So hopefully we'll be trying to win the new second division, as it's called, or be there or thereabout to try to come up. Because I think the Fulham supporters deserve something, especially after the scenes as we saw in the video at the end of the season. They want something, that they're craving for something. But that will basically be down to the players. I will contribute to it. Ray Lewington will contribute to it. We'll all contribute to it, but it will mainly come from the players.
It seems you've built up an instant rapport with the Fulham fans here. You've been a great success in your short time with the club. How important are the fans in helping along the success on the pitch?
Well, I've always maintained fans are vital to the success of the club. Because if they don't get behind the club, it's like anything else. If somebody's always shouting at a high wire act, he's going to fall off it. He will most definitely fall off it. If people come along and support the players, get behind the players, encourage the players. Encouragement's a great thing. I learned that in management. It took me a little while to learn that in management. But you always want the things to be right, so you're always giving people a rollicking all the time and getting on top of them. And it doesn't do to do that. It's good occasionally to say, well done, that was good, pat them on the shoulder, give them a lift. And I think that's what the fans can do. They can contribute by doing that and getting behind the team.
After a story of perhaps nearly but not quite ultimate success at Ewood Park, what actually brought you to the job at Fulham?
I was out of a job, we've been honest about it. I needed the money. I think that many people say this when I left Rangers to go to Blackburn Rovers. They say, why we Glasgow Rangers to go to Blackburn Rovers? I wasn't out of a job then, but I wanted to manage a team. I wanted to get back and be a manager. The opportunity to come to Fulham and manage Fulham was a very good opportunity. But being honest about it, I mean, I was out of a job. I felt I could do a job at Fulham. And Fulham directors felt I could do a job as well. I always believe that directors appoint managers and directors will sack managers. Well, that's a fact of life. You've just got to live with these things. I'll be judged on how successful the team are, which is, again, is a fact of life. I may put the club to rights, I may get a lot of good kids coming through, but at the end of the day, it's how well the first team do on the pitch on a Saturday afternoon that everybody will judge it with. So, I mean, I don't try to glitter things. Maybe that's how I've got on well with the Fulham fans. I don't try to cover things over. We're there, we are what we are. People have got to accept what we are. We've got a lot of failings, but we've got a lot of good points as well.
So the last word on this tape belongs to the most important man at the club. Don, any message for those Fulham fans in the coming season?
Yeah, enjoy the tape and hope we see a lot more goals like we've seen on that tape this season and get behind Fulham football.